Okay, good morning. All those other speakers, they took the words right out of my mouth. This little sign here I made today, you know, I'm not a social scientist, you know, I'm not an economics professor, you know, business major or anything like that. And I don't think you have to be a rocket scientist either to know, you know, just by observation through time. It seems like it's always the same company asking for a raise, you know, and maybe at times the other little companies might go along with it. Not always. Not always. Sometimes they've expressed right here in this room, you know, we don't need a raise. We don't need a rate hike. You know, why is that? Why is it that the behemoth needs a rate hike all the time? Maybe at times they do. Maybe at times it do. You know, it's like crying wolf. You know, maybe sometime along the line there might be a wolf. You know, and if they're the only ones that are really crying for a rate hike, you know, in poverty, and crying for poverty, you've heard the testimony of poverty. Yeah, I hope your ears are open for that. But you know, it may suggest some unmanageability issues in National Grid. You know, and that's something that they're going to have to work out on their own and not impose on the public, on the working poor. You know, you three people, if I remember correctly, there should be 5 of you, according to the Rhode Island state law, 5 commissioners, and I'm okay with 5 women commissioners. You know, you got a great responsibility. And Camille touched off on it too. You know, one of your roles is to protect the most vulnerable people here in Rhode Island. PUCs in the past, I've been going to meetings. I haven't been, you know, in a few years, but I've been going through PUC hearings in the past. And whenever there was a rate hike, and people would come here with the statistics and, you know, about National Grid's profit, and you've heard the statistics from Mayor Fung. I can't remember those numbers. They're a little staggering for me, you know. The commission's decision was, well, we have to make sure that National Grid, one of their decisions was, we have to make sure that National Grid is making a profit in Rhode Island. So, you know, so basically, the decision of the Public Utilities Commission was profits before people. That's what it was. They weren't interested in helping the most vulnerable people, you know. They were more interested in making sure National Grid, multi-billion corporation, makes some kind of profit in Rhode Island, you know. So that's what the Public Utilities Commission contributed to Rhode Island. Last thing I want to say, you know, Dr. Colby talked about, you know, psychological study. And there was a psychological study back in 1962 called the Milgram experiment. You know, the obedience experiment. And it's one thing to respect authority, but when you have to obey some kind of authority, you know, and at the detriment of hurting another human being or hurting a society of people, you know, that's where the sickness comes, you know. And that was the experiment where somebody was shocking somebody for wrong answers, you know. And, you know, even though the person, you know, complained about health problems and pain and everything, 62% of the people were afraid to confront authority, you know, and their own morality to stop shocking this person. But, and, you know, basically what I'm saying is, this commission doesn't have to be like the Milgram experiment. We don't have to keep shocking the poorest members of society, you know, and it's ever growing. You know, you've heard the testimony, many people spoke before I did, of how people heard it. You know, you heard it from individuals, you heard it from consumers, you heard it from politicians. We don't have to be obedient to the behemoth who demands, you know, tax rates, increase rates, you know, every time. We don't have to obey their authority. You know, we're the state of Rhode Island. You know, we're what's the word I want to use? I don't know, it'll come to me. But we have our own, you know, we could be our own authority. We could have a democratic authority here, you know. So, you know, that's things to ponder. Thank you.